Hey guys, welcome back. In the last lesson, we learned how to use the flex component to control the layout of different elements and how to position components in rows. So in this lesson, we are going to learn another components that we can use to lay out contents using the grid component and also another component called the simple grid. So before we get started, please hit the subscribe button and also like this video so it reach out to more people. So let's get started. So before we get started with the grid components, I want to also update the flex component we use on the navbar. So come over to the flex component and I want to add in some background color to it because I forgot to add the navbar need a background color. Then also we need to also add in update the padding. So the padding top, the y-axis, the vertical side, the top and bottom 10 pixels. And I also want to keep the x-axis as the left and right 40 pixels. So okay, the grid component and the simple grid, they are the two components we are going to use in this video. So both of these two components uses the CSS grid under the hood to lay out content in rows and in column. So the simple grid component is an easier way to make responsive grid layout, while the grid component needs a little bit of more setup and work. So remember this is not going to be a tutorial that will teach you deep into CSS grid. It's all about how to implement a grid system using Chakra UI or Chakra UI component, the grid component in our React application. So we're going to start with a simple grid component. And we're going to use that inside the dashboard page component or page, anyway you call it. So going to the dashboard page, then what we're going to do here, we're going to get rid of all of this code if it's in here. So let me clear them off. So clear off with the box style. We don't need that. The box components, we don't need that. So let's remove the heading. Don't need that. Remove that. Like text. So we can leave the box component because we're actually going to use that. So let's just remove the container, the text container. So we want a simple grid. And now let's go above the box component. Let's take the simple grid component. So let's put in the simple grid. Make sure to import that. Then we need to put in some items inside it. So we can pass in. Yeah. So we're going to pass in some prop. So inside the simple grid, we're going to say how many columns do we want this grid to be. So the name of the prop, we're going to write in the column. Let's put columns. So inside the parentheses, we're going to write the amounts of column we want. So I'm going to choose 4 column. So I'll just put in 4 here. Yeah, now inside the grid, we can lay out content. So I'm going to make use of the box component so that we use to. So this is just an example to show you how the simple grid layout work. So come over to the box component. I want to clear off all this. Let's give it some background of. Let's copy the color. We'll give it F2, F2, F2. Background color. Then we're going to give it some height of 200 pixels. So another property we're going to add is the border. Let's give it border of 1 pixel solid. You can choose to add a color, you can leave it like this. It's going to work. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy it. So copy it and paste it a couple of times till we have 12 boxes. So let's copy them. Let's make it with QSR. So We're going to save it. So all of these box components are going to be a grid item inside the grid. I remember we said we want 4 column for this grid that we created here. So if we save, try to go to dashboard, we can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 columns here. We have 4 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 columns. So let's apply some bit of spacing between each of these. So we can go over to our code base. Then let's add some spacing to it. So we can come over here. So come over to the SimpleGrid and let's put some spacing. So we can put this to 10. So if I save it, then so save this and let's preview it. So we can see that there's spacing there. So the next thing I'm going to do is, if I make the browser smaller, you can see that the grid graph stays the same, but the elements tend to get smaller. So if I expand this, you see it. If you notice, when it gets smaller, the grid items get squashed right together. But we can make it that, so we can make it a bit responsive. Let's apply some prop to type prop to the SimpleGrid, so it makes the item wrap to the other rules so that everything fits on the window page. Then let's go over to the code. And inside here, let's give it a minimum child width. So we're going to make this 250 pixels. And what this is going to mean is that when we get items smaller, which is 250 pixels, will not be squared, and we don't really need this column anymore. So the column does not dictate the positioning. So what the main child which does is it give it a fixed width where the items move to the next, wrap to the next row. So let's save this and let's preview it. See, so when we resize, you can see it stays in one row now. Or when we increase it, it stays in 2 rows, 3 rows, 4 rows, 4 column. And then so it's back to the way it is. So we've made it responsive out of the box, which is pretty nice. So now I'm going to apply some padding to the grid itself. So let's come over to the code. Now let's put in some padding. Let me just add it here. Let's put some padding. Right. Let's make it UI. Let's give it 10 pixels. Let's save this. Let's also give it a position horizontal. Padding position horizontal. So px. And if you preview it, you can see the gap has been spaced and there's gap around it. So that is how we can use the responsive grid, that is the SimpleGrid, to create a grid. Now as well, like I said the other time, I said there's another type of grid components that gives us a little bit of flexibility, but we need to put a little more work into it in order for it to work. So to start off with the grid component, the second type of grid component we talked about. So we're going to go inside the root layout. So let's go to the layout here, not the layout folder, zero right here, app layouts.js. So what we're going to do here, we are going to wrap the nav bar with the and the content with the grid layout. So we're going to have 2 columns, the sidebar and the main content. So what we're going to do here now, we are going to start to create the component. So let's replace the div with a grid component. So make sure to import it. So let's import that. Then let's replace it here. So I want the left side to have the sidebar, while the right side to have the navbar and the contents. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come inside here and put something called the grid item. So make sure to import that. So I'm going to copy it and paste it. Then take these items here, move it into the grid item. So let's just, in this place, let's just output. So I'm going to output a bus component. So later on, we are going to separate the sidebar components in a different page. So let's just output the sidebar here and make sure to import the bus component. So we need to save that. So now what we're going to do is that we have to give the grid component, we have a prop called a template. We're going to set the template columns. So to do that, we're going to come over to the grid components and put in a template columns. So what we're going to write here, we're going to say, okay, repeat the sys. So come over here, just put repeat. So we're gonna repeat this. I'm putting the sys. Yeah, one fr. Let's put this, wrap it into, let's cut it off and just put it inside the so to save this. So the C's here represent the columns, and the one and FR. The FR means a fraction. We want the columns to take, each of them have equal fraction. So we are giving it a 6 column here. So what we are going to do next is we're going to give this a background. Let's give it a background of light gray. Light gray. So let's save that. Make sure to save that, or we can probably just change this to gray 200, or let's be 50 to make it lighter. Let the background of the whole window lighter. Now we want to give the actual sizes, the actual columns, the space they can occupy to the sidebar and to the main content. So for the sidebar, what I need to do is I want to output the grid item as side. So I don't want it to display as grid, as div in the HTML. If you try to inspect and look at it, it should show div, but I want it to output as the outside. So I give it outside. Why I want this to output as the main one. So I want to give this a colon span of 1. So I want it to take the spacing, it should occupy to 1, and give this a background color. Let's leave it. Let's give it a background. Let's give it a minimum height first. Let's give it a minimum height to equals to. So I want it to take the whole height of the window. So let's give it 100 VH. Then let's give this a padding of 20 pixels. So let's save that. So we're going to give this a colon span. So since we've given this grid 6 column, the sidebar is going to occupy 1, while the main content occupies 5 space. So we're going to give this a background of bj equals to, let's give it of f2, f2, f2. So let's save this. So for the content, I want the content to have some spacing between the navbar and it. So I'm going to wrap this outlet to bus components and let's put it inside it. So I want to give it padding equals to 10 pixels. Let's give 40 pixels. So give it aside. Then come over to here. I want to give this a background of, for now, let's just give it a background of white. So now if we save it and go up and look at this, let's go and look at it. We can see that it has given it a sidebar has taken the 1 colon span, and the main content has taken the larger span with the spacing around it that match with the nav bar. So all right, okay. So that is how we use the grid component again. And you want it, if you want a nice, easy, simple way to make grid components quick and pretty fast, so you don't need this flexibility. You can use a simple grid. You can specify spacing and the number of column, or you can use the minimum child width, just like how we use in the simple components. The simple components allow us to use the minimum child width to make the components, make the grid responsive. So, but these give us more these grid components, not the simple components, simple grid. The grid components give us flexibility and give us the ability to control it. So you see how we gave it the column size, the span to take, and also we also give it the, if you come here, also give it the number of fraction that each of the columns should take. And we have given each grid items the color span and the color span to the column they can occupy. So alright, so that's pretty much it for this lesson. I hope you understand how we can use these grid components to create a grid layout. In the next lesson, we're going to learn about responsiveness, and we're going to see you together in the next lesson.